What's up, superstars? Today's video is all about positive self-talk. The words you say to yourself, either inside your head quietly or out loud, totally affect your life. And I'm going to share with you a story about how I learned to use positive and powerful self-talk to really get the result I wanted in a competitive athletic situation. And you can use that type of story to help affect your life in a positive way through some tools and strategies that I'll share with you at the end of this video that'll take your life from right where it's at to that high vibe life, which is filled more with all the things you want and your dreams coming true. Here we go. It's time to let your light shine. Finding that superstar inside of you. Today's video is going to be a fun one because I've got a real life story on how I learned to use my positive self-talk in a very powerful way. And this is all about creating habitual patterns. We need our thoughts to be habitually positive to think our way and imagine our way towards a positive life. So the thoughts that we think and the words that we say are super powerful. Most importantly, with the positive self-talk, there's a conversation that's happening probably in your mind all day long. And I feel like that might be the way for most people. So those thoughts might tend to be positive or might tend to be negative. And something with my programming growing up, gosh, it seems like there's just some negative thought could slip in there in my mind and I could dwell on that and steer myself towards a negative result. So we want to use our positive self-talk and the way that we describe ourselves and the way that we talk about our life or about a situation as we go through it to get ourselves from where we're at to a better life. All right, so here's the story. About 2 years ago, I got cast as a fitness model for a fitness convention in downtown San Diego. And my agent just asked me, she said, "Do you know how to spin? Do you know how to take a spin class?" And I said, "Yeah, I love to cycle and spin." So that's all I knew about it. I showed up to work, and when I get there, it was working for a company named Kaiser that makes spin bikes and athletic equipment. And they got all of us fitness people that are working with them for the day together, and they said, "Okay, this is what's happening today. We're gonna have you take a 30-minute spin class, and we'll have you do that every hour all day long." So that's 8 30-minute spin classes for day one, and then we also have day 2 of this event. Now, I just thought, okay, let's just go for it. But then I take the first class, and these are world-class instructors that train world-class athletes. So that first class, by the time that first 30 minutes was over, I was dripping with sweat, drenched from head to toe, and then I had another class and another. But the interesting thing about this class is that all the bikes were linked together through a computer system, and there was a big Jumbotron TV screen, huge one, above all the bikes. So we could see what's going on the Jumbotron, and all the people walking by at the convention could see it too. Now, their computer system ranked us and all the bikes, who has the most power output, who's winning this race. So over the course of the first few rides, we figured out that one guy was winning every race. He was basically bionic. And then there was another guy who was close to him, but a little ways off. And then I was like a distant third, and then everyone else who was riding. So after the first 2 classes, I started taking the 3rd class, and I thought to myself, man, I gotta pace myself because I got a whole day of this and then another day of this too. And then we start riding, and on the Jumbotron for that ride, I remember they had a Peloton, which means like a computer generated graphic of all the bikes in the class as they would look riding down a road. So I start slacking off a little bit, and then all of a sudden my bike, number 3, on the big screen slides to the back of the pack, and I was just like, I can't slack off because everyone here would know if I'm slacking off. So I just had to use my energy and just go and just go and just go and just go and just go. Now, after day 1, exhausted. but day 2 starts. And then something inside me, I thought to myself, I'm gonna own this dude. The guy who's in second place, I'm gonna beat him. And what I learned about the first place and second place guy after day 1, those guys were sponsored riders. So they had bike companies actually sponsor them. So they're more like almost semi-pro or pro type of riders. And I just do it as exercise, but I do like to exercise and push myself. But I thought, I'm gonna own this dude. So then about halfway through the day, I get on my bike, getting ready for the spin class, and then he saddles up on a bike next to me. We didn't talk about this at all, but he saddles up next to me and we start riding, then the class starts going, and it's like, it's on. We're battling each other on the scoreboard, and it's going back and forth, and he's ahead of me for sure, but I just keep catching up. And these trainers have us go through high intensity intervals. Sometimes it's more of an endurance test where we do really hard for 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute segments and really push ourselves. So I'm battling this dude on the scoreboard and right next to me, and I just start telling myself positive thoughts. I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then I shifted it along the way to I'm powerful, I am powerful, I'm powerful, I'm powerful, I'm powerful. And this is all just happening quietly, silently in my head, in my mind, but I'm using my mind to steer my body, just saying I'm powerful, I'm powerful. And then I shifted it again. And I said, I have all of God's power, I have all of God's power. And I'm saying this silently in my mind while going through this stressful athletic situation. And then we're battling back and forth, and then I just start taking over, and then I beat him. And then afterwards, I get off the bike and I say, man, that was something else. And he looks at me, he says, yeah, man, that was crazy. And I say, all I kept telling myself is, I have all of God's power, I have all of God's power. And he said, man, I should have been saying something like that. And I said, well, what were you telling yourself in your mind during this ride? And he said, man, this fucking hurts, man, this fucking hurts. And I just thought to myself, oh, I won it with my self-talk. I won it with the self-talk. I won it with my positive thoughts about the situation. Right in the middle of the stressful situation, I won that because my empowering thoughts, my thoughts that move us forward, got me the better results. He's probably a better rider. He is a better rider. But we talk in another video about what are high vibe thoughts and high vibe beliefs. What is the thought of I have all of God's power? How would that move? I have all of God's power. Yeah, let's go. I have all of God's power. What would the energy be of, man, this fucking hurts? That's like, So he was probably clinching, going through a stressful situation, and I was going, I have all of God's power, I have all of God's power. And that kept myself moving forward, even though my legs were burning and this was just incredibly difficult. But guess what? You have all of God's power. Use these types of positive affirmations and positive self-talk habitually, as well as in those stressful situations. Because if you wake up every morning and create a habitual pattern where you wake up saying, I am blessed, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am blessed and highly favored. Today's a beautiful day. This is a day where my dreams are coming true. And you cycle those types of things in the morning, in the afternoon, at night before you go to bed. Then you're creating a habitual pattern of positive thoughts. And then you also want to use your positive self-talk when you're in those situations. When you're in that meeting at work where things might go a little sideways and you need to keep yourself in order and you need to take a breath and say, I can do it. I am smart. We can do this. And it's a little story that you tell yourself in your mind as well as in your words, and you go forth and handle things. So those are two things that you want to do. Incorporate these positive and empowering thoughts and affirmations in your mind quietly, as well as out loud through affirmations, and use those things habitually. When you wake up in the morning, at noon, before you go to bed, and several times during the day, and in those stressful situations, use them right there in that situation, because you have all of God's power. You are glorious and mighty. You are God's masterpiece, and carry that energy through your thoughts, through your mind, through your physical reality, and make your life the glorious life it was meant to be.